This time I'll call the July 6, 2023 meeting to order for the Dixon County Commissioners. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On our agenda, we have one item to add, and that is for a classification and compensation study. And with that addition, I will move we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second for approval of the amended agenda. Any discussion or question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the June 29th meeting, also payroll of $366,686.01, utilities of $18,097.49.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
We have the motion and second for approval of the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Commission comments, Ron.
No comment.
Craig.
Well, we talked about the bridge down on Union 1100 Avenue. We ever decide how we're going to fix access into those people that are there?
We are looking at what it would cost for us to upgrade Bain Road from a minimum maintenance to gravel it. So I'm waiting for some cost to come back on that to see what that's going to look like. So probably won't have that until next week.
The township officials, we worked out it. I know we haven't made an agreement with them, but we bring it up to what we need and they'd maintain it
Yes.
from then on out.
Yes, there.
Because they'd have less road to do from 1100 Avenue.
Mhm. Martin has been in contact with Mary down there, Mary Bruckmeyer, and visiting with her, and they will go in and have a discussion again and see once we get the cost in and see what that looks like for them too. So.
Well, it's going to have to be done. In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What about the K-Camp insurance?
So I'm waiting for the report, and then once the report is submitted to us, then Marcus will turn it in and we'll have a discussion with them. We've got information out there, between the township, between the co-op in that area and the school district. So hopefully somebody comes forward and lets us know what had happened and who possibly started the fire to burn the brush there, so we can move forward with pursuing that.
Is the sheriff following an active investigation or not?
Yes, they are. And then fire marshal is as well. State fire marshal's office is. Yes.
Oh, I have then. I did give you a letter from the off computer. You can talk about later notices.
Sure. Let's see, as far as don't have particularly anything going on. As far as I know, the 4th of July was reasonably safe and everything went well throughout the county, and didn't really hear any reports one way or the other.
We had a fire inside the city limits of Abilene that probably started by fireworks over on 3rd and Monroe, or 4th and Monroe, started in their garage. Grant Township and Abilene Fire responded to that. That's what my understanding was.
And then I'm not sure of all the name changes, but what was the Abilene Country Club at one time, and then was Great Life Golf Course and so on. But they had their ribbon cutting and opening, and probably the most cars I've seen out there for a decade or two. Mm-hmm. And it seems like they have the course in really good shape. They have units that can be rented out for storage as well as for golf carts. They have some, I think, skeet shooting and so on, but they had a tournament. So anyway, it kind of seems they're off to a good start, and they have the course in good condition. And, it's a nice amenity to have. We have the Chapman Golf Course, which gets lots of positive feedback, and the usage is great over there from what I hear. Mm-hmm. And, I think but anyway, it's kind of good to see something like that, because I think most people expect communities of a certain size to have that type of facility available. So
right.
Good luck to the owners on that. And I know the EDC maybe gave some assistance advice wise and so on. And I believe the community foundation was involved and just a lot of volunteer efforts, but it's been a good community project. And I think we'll have some benefits to come. That's all I would have. We did not have any petitions or proclamations. This would be opportunity if there's anyone that would want to make any comments or have any questions, they could bring that up this time. We do not have anything as far as public comment, and so we'll move on to our report of county officers. Janelle?
You touched on a couple of things that we're working on through our office. I also wanted to point out that Marcus had submitted the end of month reports, and managers are doing well with their budgets for the year thus far. We're halfway through. Hard to believe, but we are. A sales tax, though, we would note is a little bit down compared to last year at this time. So we are keeping an eye on that. And if you remember, this is 2 years back that they're reporting. So, but we'll definitely watch that. The other thing I wanted to let people know, there are signs out on Old 40. We'll be closing the road there on Monday, the 10th, just east of the Abilene city limits. We're replacing a tube there. And then on Monday, the 17th, we'll close Highway or Old 40 again to replace another set of tubes. And we're preparing for the upcoming paving project that we'll be bringing back to you for next year, because it's time to pave 40 again. So, but there's also going to be a bridge that's going to have to be replaced in that same location. So we'll come back with bids for that proposal to do that. And it will be closed for several months for that. So while we're replacing the 2 culverts, it'll be closed during the week and reopen back during the weekend. And then when it comes time to do the bridge, we'll have to close it.
Will there be, I guess, some detour traffic marked to?
We'll run them down
Establish a route.
to Jeep Road and around, most likely is what we're going to have to do.
Okay.
And then the highway crews are out mowing and blading. You know, the rain that we've had has helped. So hopefully we can get back on some of the gravel roads and get that taken care of. And then they're mowing the ditches and making the 2 passes on some of our highly traveled roads. So that's all I would have at this time.
The EOM reports. What's
End of month.
okay? How long do you expect the Old 40 to put those tubes in?
Just that week. So
Somebody asked me if
each of them.
I depending on the weather, but I mean,
Mhm.
she'd be able to get them out in the day and get them back. But then the paving, if they're going to take our paving out there, depending on the weather, so back it.
Right.
Okay.
And there's one tube that's going to be replaced on the smaller one just east of town. But when you get out further by Indy Road,
Right.
that's 5 tubes that are going to be replaced. So that's going to take a little bit longer time to do. Yeah. So, but the bridge will be, when we get ready to do that, that will be closed much longer.
I know the ones right there, that driveway, there's the concrete. It was a concrete structure that looked like it was there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Doug?
Thank you. It's keeping me busy on several things. Other than that, while I'm working on the tax sale, finishing that up, there was one buyer who gave us a worthless check for just about $3,700. So I'm moving forward with the collection action in regards to that. And other than that, that's all I've got. Thank you.
That happen very often at your tax sales, you get bad checks or?
Oh, once in a while, there'll be one who'll buy figuring they're going to get the money. In this case here was the individual had provided a letter from the bank that he had money. And, but then the check did not go through. I contacted his bank and so got some information from them. So I will send a correspondence out to him to pay that immediately. Otherwise, we'll move forward with collection action that has financial consequences as well, and maybe even criminal. All are gone.
That was just on one piece of property too, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Under notices and communications, we did have a letter in regards to the or email in regards to the wind farms, and a little bit of it just encouraging the commission to go ahead and do some research on that because we'll be getting information that may not be accurate from certain groups or people. And so that is something that I think we're very aware to try to do our due diligence to gather information that's accurate and also check on that. And like many issues or sometimes discussions, just based on hearsay, sometimes there is misinformation out there or information that's, somehow skewed and such. And so I think we're aware of that possibility. And then their other input was that that those that own farmland should have the right to do with that land whatever they want to do. So earlier this morning, we heard from Cindy McDonald and about some of the court proceedings that are going to be taking place. And then also did a review as far as the budget, and that would appear to be ready to be published.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just kind of give some information on, or you want to delegate that?
I'd be happy to delegate.
Just on when that occurs, but also, Jeannie's involved a little bit too, because procedurally, it has to go out to our county newspaper per se.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of probably a tag team effort here. Just give us a little brief overview of what the steps are that we're going to be taking. And I think we are, from our discussions, would be ready to have that published. And then what the options are after it is published.
Okay. So first we'll provide notice to the county clerk, who's sitting right over here, that for the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate. And I believe once you receive that from all of the taxing entities, you'll send out that mass notification with all of the entities included on that. And so that's due by July 20th to Jeannie from all taxing entities. So obviously we get ours turned in with plenty of time. Then with the notice to publish the notice for the hearing, that would be a hearing that would include a combination of the budget hearing and the revenue neutral rate hearing, could be held on that same day. Right now, based on some past discussions, we talked about having that hearing on August 31st at 11:05 a.m. So at this point, we would be able to publish the summary in the newspaper and provide ample time for taxpayers to communicate with us and make sure that they were available to come to the hearing if they would wish to. The current rate right now that we would be publishing at would be mill levy of 55.380, which is about a 0.413 mill levy increase to last year.
Part of our discussion too, if you recall this morning, is just the increased cost of services that we're seeing, and the assessed valuation has increased by almost 3%. So we're able to have a little bit of a trade-off there with the assessed valuation going up, which does help with that. And that's one of the reasons why we're able to keep the mill levy just slightly higher than it was. There's still some tweaking that we could do with that as we're going along, but we need to go ahead and move forward with getting it published and start that process in time to hold the hearing, because we have to publish it at minimum 10 days prior to the hearing. So we're well within that, but.
And only between August 20th and September 20th.
Right. So there's some deadlines in the new laws that came out so that we're following.
Okay. Any questions or comment? So we'll go ahead and move through. We do not have any resolutions or unfinished business to consider under new business or other business. We would have to consider the bid for concrete repairs at the environmental services in the solid waste building. Janelle, if you'd go ahead and kind of give us the information of why we're considering that at this time and what are the bids that we received.
So in January, our environmental services director came to us, and Hams Corey, who operates the transfer station for us, and showed us that we started to have some issues on the west wall along the backside of the environmental services where the trash is collected, and then he pushes it up a ramp and puts it in the hopper. And over the past few months, it's just consistently gotten worse. So we started out with a small area, but now we're back to at minimum 27 foot by 80 foot area with damage to it. And I showed you pictures earlier this year. We contacted numerous concrete vendors and received 2 bids for the request that we brought out, and that's to replace, it's a 10-inch concrete floor currently that we've got. We're recommending replacing it with a 12-inch high-density concrete area. We received a bid from James Coy Construction in the amount of $48,160.92, and that is a 12-inch floor with 2 mesh mats and number 4 rebar with a 4,000 PSI on the concrete. And then we also received another bid from Kenner Connect Concrete Plus for a 12-inch floor with 2 layers, basically 2 mesh mats, and then 4,000 PSI concrete, and that total was $58,000. So unfortunately, the environmental services would have to be shut down for a minimum 3 weeks. It could possibly be 4 weeks. So our haulers would have to go out of county to take the trash service too. We can't dump outside per ADHE regulations. But we do need to get this repaired. This building has been utilized 6 days a week for the past, I think the concrete's been there for 40 years is my understanding. So we're hoping that this would last considerably longer. So county highway crew would provide 83 rock to fill in before the concrete's poured, and both vendors were out and took a look at the area. So our recommendation is to move forward with James Coy Construction for a 12-inch floor with 2 mats and number 4 rebar, and the amount of $48,160.92.
And you mentioned it would be closed for quite a while, approximately a month, hopefully less. But when would this work commence? Did they have that in there?
We could start, James Coy could start in August, and I believe Kenner Connect was the same way, that they could start that, but we'll work with them and with Hams, and then also notifying the haulers so they have plenty of notice when we're going to start this project, make sure that they're well prepared with that. So, I mean, it's hot as the dickens out there, so August would be, granted it's inside, but it's still going to be pretty warm working conditions there. So.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
No.
So we need to consider a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from the James Coy Construction for $48,160.92.
Okay, we have the motion and the second to accept the bid from James K. Coy Construction out of Lynchburg, Kansas. That's a 12-inch floor with 2 mats, number 4 rebar. The amount $48,160.92. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I didn't want to confuse it or bring it up with this, but it came to mind and I should have brought it up some other time. But I have had a few inquiries as far as demolition services, and we don't have the ability to receive large demolition materials out there.
Right.
So maybe at some future meeting or something, I don't know if we have any plans or options out there on that, but I guess that's something people are interested in. And so maybe we could kind of discuss or see what options or,
I do know that we would have to reapply on our permit for a C&D and have that. And I don't know what all goes into it, but we can do some research. Right now, they'll have to go out of county, and Howie's trash service out of Riley County or Manhattan does take C&D. So there's an option there. And then I believe Gary County, you could take it to Gary or Saline as well.
well, you might do some additional research and it may be something not feasible, but there are people interested or would utilize that service. So. Okay, the next item we have is one we added to the agenda, and this is in regards to a compensation and wage study. So Janelle, once again, or classification.
Classification and compensation study. So commissioners, this has been in the discussion for several months now that we needed to consider looking at reviewing our pay plan, review the job descriptions and the classification within that study. And part of the discussion was that we don't have a clearer understanding of where we need to go with this and how the pay plan works. So I had sent an email out to the other county administrators in the state and asked for some recommendations and talked with both of the vendors that we've got. And part of the process would be to review the current job descriptions that we have. And that's one thing that we do ask the department managers to look at, especially when they're evaluating, but also look at where they're at within the classification for our pay plan. As you know, attracting staff is always an issue, and pay is at the forefront for some, but not for others. Also, right now, knock on wood, we are fully staffed. Or almost fully staffed, so I hate to bring that up. But a lot of the surrounding counties have also increased their pay, which thanks to you, we have done, I think, a good job with that. But where they're at in the pay plan and where the job descriptions are at, I think we've struggled with. We want to make sure that we have an accurate and detailed plan for our employees, an accurate and detailed job description for our employees. And the benefit is also they'll take a look at the pay plan and they can see if they continue in the grade or the position that they're in, what their raises would be. If they want to move up in the county, be promoted or additional training, what that would look like as well. So the two groups that we reached out to, one is the Arnold group out of Wichita and the other is the Austin Peters group. They're out of Fort Collins, Colorado, but they do have staff in Kansas, and both came highly recommended. The Arnold group could start their project this year. It's going to take 16 to 24 weeks. And with that, and then the Austin Peters group would start in 24. Both vendors would work with myself and Marcia, and then all of the managers to review the job descriptions that they've got, the positions that they've got, and provide us with guidance on how we're going to establish the pay grades and continue on. We have a process to follow with this. So both have good references. Our recommendation, or my recommendation, is to move forward with the Arnold group, especially since they can start this year. There's two options with them. Option number 2 is for $35,952, and that also includes 3 years of maintenance. So we'd have the benefit of working with them for the project for the next 3 years after we get the project, or after we get the compensation study completed. So I think that's a benefit as well moving forward. So we have a plan in place with this. So.
Okay, and on the Arnold group, they had more than one option, but the option that probably would suit us best was the one for $35,592.
$952.
$952, okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the Arnold bid for $35,952 for option number 2.
Second.
We have the motion and the second to accept the Arnold bid. This is for the classification and compensation study, the amount $35,952. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else to bring before the commission? We do have a barbecue for the county employees that's going to be taking place this afternoon, so gives us kind of a chance for someone to relax just a little bit over their lunch hour, normal lunch hour of an hour or less. Any other discussion? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. We've got the motion and second to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.